The Rezor View engine allows us to use Rezor templates to produce HTML. Rezor views, if you remember from previous modules, are those files with a CS/HTML extension. Think of them as templates that consist of markup, which is your HTML, and code expressions that place data into the markup. So if I have a view, and my model is a restaurant review, I'll take properties of the review like the restaurant name and address and place those property values into specific locations in the HTML. When you put all of this together, you can render a full HTML page to the client's browser. Let's look at some code in our application to make this concept concrete. Inside of our application, we would like the user to be able to go to /reviews and see a list of the latest restaurant reviews that we have in the application. Unfortunately, that controller does not exist yet, so we have the 404 response. Let me right-click on the controllers folder, select Add Controller, and we will call this the Reviews controller. I'm going to go ahead and leave this checkbox selected that will add action methods for create, update, delete, and detail scenarios. Those are all scenarios that we'll need in our application. The first action that we'll implement will be the index action. This is the default action for the controller, and it should build up a model that is a list of the latest reviews. So inside the controller, let me instantiate a class called FoodDB, and we'll just call it _DB, add this as a private field to our controller. It's in a slightly different namespace, so let me bring in ode2food.models, and I also want to bring in another namespace, which is ode2food.queries. Currently, FoodDB does not point to a database. If I press F12 to go to the definition, you'll see that FoodDB just has some reviews that are in memory. We're going to focus on views in this module, and we'll come back and take this same class and actually wire it up to a database later. For right now, I just want to keep things simple, and again, just focus on building up views. So what we'll say is that the model is going to be db.reviews.findthelatest3, because I only have 3 reviews constructed in memory right now. Later we can change that when we actually have a database with reviews inside of it, but we're going to tell the controller action to produce a view result that will have the model property set to the latest reviews. Let's build the project, and now I'll come out and refresh the browser, and the MVC runtime has gone off to look for the conventional view. Since we're inside the reviews controller and an index action and we produced a view result, the MVC runtime went to the reviews folder and looked for something called index. And it looked for a couple different index files because there's actually 2 view engines registered by default in the MVC runtime. One is the web forms view engine, and web forms views have the extension ASPX or ASCX, but we also have the Rezor view engine with the CS/HTML extension. The MVC runtime was looking for that, and it's looking for a view that has the same name as the controller action, index, and it's looking for it both in the reviews folder and in the shared folder. We don't have a view yet, but let's create one. I can simply right-click inside this controller action, select Add View. This is going to bring up a dialog box. It knows I want the review named index. That's right, using the Rezor view engine. This can be a strongly typed view that works against restaurant review. And now I'm going to pick a scaffold template. So what the scaffold template will do in Visual Studio is look at your model class and reflect on it, see what the properties are inside of there, and try to build a starting view for you. It's a view that you can then go in and modify, but I'm going to select the list scaffold template, which assumes I have a list of reviews. We're going to leave all the other things in place and click Add, and what it's going to do is assume that I have a list of reviews and that I want to display every property. So it's going to go ahead and build a view for me that is strongly typed to IEnumerable of restaurant review. And then it's going to build a table. And each row in that table will display one item that is inside of my list of reviews. It'll display the rating, it'll display the body, it'll also display when this review is created. If you look here in Solution Explorer, you can see that what the Add View dialog created for us was index.cshtml, and it's inside of the reviews folder of the views folder. That means if we save everything and we come back and refresh our page, now we'll be able to render some restaurant reviews. The scaffolding template that we used automatically created a view that has a table. It has a link to create a new review, go to the edit, the details, or delete an existing review. Those are all controller actions that we don't have implemented as yet. And there's also a few details missing that the scaffolding template just didn't pick up, like the restaurant name, because a restaurant review is a complex type. So we're going to go in and implement this view and fix it up a little bit better so it displays everything that we want, and along the way we can learn a bit about the Rezor syntax.